The whole Weinstein thing opened a door for power abusers to be called out in this way that's so hurtful. And so I was committed to having my whole story published because it's such a long story of how he was a hero and then it was a bait and switch and the aftermath. And I thought if I'm going to talk about it now, I want the whole story, not just the salacious details, because there's a huge impact on a human being and a woman.
Most of us have stories like this, and we deal with it in different ways. So for many years, this became an anecdote for me, and it wasn't until the Weinstein news break that I sort of felt like a scab had been ripped off, and I thought, well, if I go forward with my story, then people said there will be an avalanche, and there wasn't actually. I mean, it was hard to get a follow-up story.
Dustin, Hoffman, this is a complicated day.
When her story came out, I happened to be on a plane. I was flying to San Francisco from New York, and when I landed, I couldn't believe how many texts with links to her story and emails with links to her story. All my friends were like, oh my God, this is the same thing you've been telling us about over the years. And I opened it and I started to read it, and it's like when you hear like a really close friend has died suddenly. It's that kind of like my heart just stopped, and I just, went into almost shock as I read it, because at that moment, I think I realized, my goodness, this is not something that just happened to me. I realized at that moment, this is something that happened to one other person at least, and if it happened to one other person, I'm sure there's many more of us. And at that moment, I think that feeling of shame that I'd had actually turned to anger. And so I then began to look at the comments that she was getting, and they were all of disbelief and why did it take you so long and all that sort of thing. And I just got angry, and I said, I know without any doubt that this is a true story because her details are so similar to my details.